You know, just a few decades ago, tattoos were considered taboo. Now, for the majority of people, they're commonplace. According to Pew Research, about 23% of Americans have a tattoo. 32% of people ages 30 to 45 have at least one. And research shows that people spend more than $1 billion on tattoos every year.
Wow, $1 billion. Well, while it's true that tattoos are more commonplace, experts say that doesn't mean that they're not affecting your body. After being diagnosed with cervical cancer and after a thorough body scan, one woman's doctor thought the disease had spread to the lymph nodes. But it turns out what he saw wasn't the result of cancer, but rather her tattoos. Reporter Christine Lazar has more.
It was something Orange County surgeon Ramez Iskander never expected to hear in the operating room.
There is no evidence of cancer in the lymph nodes. We just see tattoo pigment.
Ink from his patient's tattoos, which covered her legs and thighs, had lit up her lymph nodes on her PET scan, making doctors believe her cervical cancer had metastasized and spread to her lymph nodes. Once on the operating table, they learned it was tattoo ink causing the bright spots on her scans and not cancer cells.
And when you tattoo, some of that ink will be absorbed by cells in the lymphatic system and migrate to levels of lymph nodes.
Dr. Iskander published his findings this week in the Journal of Obstetrics and Gynecology. He says the patient's case should serve as a warning to people with body art and their doctors.
So what we wanted to do was to educate physicians, patients, families that, hey, when there's a PET scan that shows a bright lymph node, if a patient has significant tattoos or body art, then you have to be cognizant that these might be false positives.
In this woman's case, she still received a hysterectomy because she did have cervical cancer, but because it had not spread as originally thought, she did not undergo radiation, which can have lifelong side effects.
Do you know if she regretted having those tattoos after this?
No, she didn't. She never mentioned that to me. She was thrilled to share her story with everyone, but she never indicated that she regretted the tattoos.
The doctor hopes that his study gets people talking about more than just tattoos, but more so about the early detection and prevention of cervical cancer. Plus, the study's author says they couldn't determine exactly how much tattoo ink is needed to make a similar misdiagnosis from a scan. Now, we want to stress this scare came in a PET scan, an imaging test used to determine how organs and tissues are working. But there are other concerns that can come up with different types of scans. For instance, an MRI. If your tattoo is 20 years or older, tattoo expert Karen Hudson says it may contain small fragments of metal because back then tattoos were not regulated and there wasn't much thought about what was in a tattoo. Karen says because of this, some people who have these older tattoos report slight discomfort to severe pain during an MRI. Just think about it. During an MRI, the magnetic force is so strong, there's a possibility that it can pull on the metal fragments. And just because you have an older tattoo doesn't mean you'll definitely have problems. It's just important to keep in mind that you might. And of course, if you have any concerns, it's best to speak with your doctor. Right?
The things you got to know.
I know.
Man, well, there's another study that links tattoos to problems with your eyes. You may remember last year, Dr. Jason Yonker of Chesapeake Eye Center told us about the research that specifically focuses on black ink. The patients in the study not only experienced swelling and redness around the tattoo site, but they had problems with their eyes.
This is something, if untreated and if left untreated, it can create a lot of scarring in the eye, which can lead to other conditions such as glaucoma.
Wow.
In these patients. And several of the patients in the study had to have glaucoma surgery on their eyes in order to control the eye pressures from the extensive scarring that came from the inflammation.
So is this something you need to worry about? Well, eye symptoms include severe eye pain, redness, sensitivity to light, and blurry vision. Now, Dr. Yonker says if you experience any of these symptoms both around the tattoo site and in your eyes, you need to see a doctor. He says researchers are still trying to figure out if something in the ink is triggering an immune response, and if so, Dr. Yonker says it could be a clue to other diseases like sarcoidosis, rheumatoid arthritis, lupus, or even Lyme disease.
That's amazing. Yeah. But in some cases, tattoos are actually helping people heal. You've probably heard of people getting tattoos to help memorialize loved ones, but what about getting a tattoo to help you feel normal again? Well, after breast cancer and breast reconstruction surgery, many women say they just don't feel like themselves until now. One woman is helping patients who have undergone reconstruction surgery by taking them from under the knife to under the needle.
Not just anyone can do Deb Rebelli's job.
You do have to have a little bit of an artistic side to you.
Her work requires an attention to detail.
You need to have a good eye for colors.
And a special touch.
Just taking your time.
This registered nurse has become an artist of a certain part of the anatomy.
We actually did a nipple reconstruction on her. Can I say that kind of stuff?
She's just taking care of me.
Sandy Cobb was diagnosed with breast cancer in 2013. 2 months later, she removed both her breasts and was on her way to recovery.
Oh, I felt great, but every day when I took a shower, you know, and every day, you know, whenever I got ready to go to work, I just look at myself and I'd say, I don't know, it's just not right.
Then Sandy heard about Deb and her 3D nipple tattooing.
Oh, she makes you feel so comfortable.
I think when they look in the mirror, all they see is 2 vertical scars.
After a few consultations, Deb got her ink and got to work.
I really don't fancy myself as a tattoo artist. I don't do any heart-shaped nipples or anything like that.
Recreating how this survivor looked before her diagnosis.
I wasn't disappointed because it does.
A science and an art, erasing cancer's mark and giving survivors hope.
Their shoulders are always pulled back a little bit more, you know. They stand a little bit taller, and that's worth everything.
Deb says the procedure is less invasive than surgical options and costs about $350 per breast. Right now, many insurance companies don't cover the treatment, but she hopes that will change as more women file claims. And Deb adds that because she considers it part of their post-op care, it should be covered just like breast reconstruction surgeries are.
That would make sense. It would. Well, another tattoo giving people strength, courage, and hope is the Semicolon tattoo. Maybe you've seen it. It's trending on social media. The Semicolon Project has actually taken off. People throughout the world who have struggled with addiction, depression, suicidal thoughts, they're tattooing themselves with semicolons as part of an online movement. The Semicolon Project is explained on blogs, websites, and social media posts as this. A semicolon is used when an author could have chosen to end their sentence, but chose not to. The author is you, and the sentence is your life. Hashtag Project Semicolon. Now, there's a large following on social media for the hashtag Project Semicolon. Here you can see a woman named Annie Snyder posted a photo of herself getting the semicolon tattoo. On Twitter, she says, "Today I made a promise to myself that I will never end my sentence, no matter how hard things get. Hashtag Semicolon Project." Isn't that incredible?
It sure is. And if a semicolon is not just fancy enough, how about something with the Disney theme? I love this Parents Today story featured in the Huffington Post. This is 8-year-old Hope Laliberte, and it was her wish to feel like an awesome Disney villain. So tattoo artist Erin Guillemette made her wish come true by tattooing Hope's leg braces. Erin said it was all worth it when he saw the look on Hope's face. As for Hope's reaction when she first saw them, she screamed.
I still like it.
Yeah.
I still like it. Well, something else that can be dangerous, using a cane that you can't trust. And that's where the trusty cane is supposed to be able to help you. The ads claim it's convenient, secure, and it's supposed to be reliable and support any surface. Well, you can decide for yourself when we put it to the test next.
Well, one thing you don't want to test, your kitchen sink. The last thing you want to deal with is a clogged drain during dinner. A little later, our friends from Angie's List tell us how to avoid those dreaded backups.
But first, you know that Delmarva Life is all about community, and that means your community too.
Is there something going on in your neighborhood? We'd love to hear about it and see your photos from the event. Send the information our way, along with any pictures you'd like to share.
Reach out to us at